Going live now. Hi, everyone. This is Amit once again with another Crazy Talk Live. So, today we are actually trying a new format. So, hopefully, this is going to be interesting to everyone. So, many of you know that, Crazy Talk does podcasts. And I think over the course of the last year or so, I personally have probably recorded maybe 70 to 80 episodes, but they've all been done in private, quietly in a room. And then we've edited those shows and then we brought them out as actual podcasts in audio. So today we are trying something new, and this is a format we hope to keep going, which is to do these podcasts live. So for today, we have our first guest in our new live format, which is Anita Soni. And Anita is the founder of Cognition, which is a company that actually does something interesting. And I'm a parent, so something that I think is particularly important for this world, which is that she works with students to help enhance their cognitive skills. And she can do that because she's a trained, I think, psychiatrist, psychologist, something to do with people's psyche. so, so I think she will explain all of this better. But we are very excited to have this conversation with her and to try out this new format. So if you like this, please do leave us comments and a thumbs up so that we can kind of do more of this kind of thing. So Anita, thank you so much for joining us today. And I definitely massacred your introduction. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and what you're trying to achieve.
Hi Amit, thank you for having me in. Hello everyone, hope you all are safe, sound, and happy. I'm a founder of Cognition and have done my specialization in child psychology from the University of Pennsylvania. I'm presently working as a coach, a mentor, and a counselor. And about Cognition facilitates knowledge based learning, which focuses more on enhancing the cognitive skills of the students for a better and a brighter future.
Right. So that's like I said, I really think it's a really important thing that you're doing, and obviously, I think it's born out of your background, out of your training and education. But how did you actually get started on this journey? Because most people obviously do courses like this, and then they take up jobs or they work in other practices, or basically they're a cog in the wheels versus being a cognition. So so how did you get started on this journey? How did you feel when you took your first steps? Why did you even do this?
The journey started with an intention to support my family, and the first few steps were with an apprehension, and I had my own doubts about things, was anxious about whether it would go as desired or not. But towards moving through the deeper inner roads, it all went beyond my imagination. God always has a plan ascribed to each of us.
Right. So, I mean, I understand the apprehension part because when we started Crazy Talk, and I've had a couple of businesses in the past which did not really succeed. So, I mean, I totally understand this whole apprehension, towards starting something new, and it is impressive. I mean, yes, I mean, one does want a higher power to help and stuff, but ultimately one has to take the step, ourselves. And so therefore I think it's a really it's still a very credible thing that you're doing, especially if this is something that you're doing also to support your family, which means there is a real downside risk to not taking up a job or doing the traditional kind of thing. So,
Absolutely.
speaking about downside risk and making money, how did you actually get your first few customers? Because obviously, when you started, I'm assuming people didn't know about you.
True. The first few customers came by word of mouth and from the near and dear ones. And a lot of people joined us along the road. And being a mentor, a coach, and a counselor, we started to understand the psychology of outlier kids, what made them unique, their character traits, and much more. And this actually helped me to get grades for my students beyond imagination.
So, so when you say, your students started performing at North Star levels, so
Mhm.
help our audience understand what kind of maybe age groups or what kinds of outcomes are you working towards?
We have students from different age groups. Like we have a batch wherein students are from grade 1 to grade 5, and then the middle school, which is 6 to 8, and then the high school, which is 8 to 10. We
Okay.
also train students for the SAT, for the
Okay.
IELTS exams as well, and for the other competitive exams.
Okay, got it. So, which means you're actually helping students do better in school or, towards their, I guess, entrance exams and stuff for higher education.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So this is exactly the kind of thing that I mean, my son is 14, so it's one of those things that we are thinking about now, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this now or may watch this video in future or listen to the podcast would probably identify with. I also like the concept of North Star levels because um, there's a lot of different things or distractions or various there's so many paths frankly that a person can take nowadays, some good, some not so good. And the fact that you're trying to get people to maybe understand also their north star and then work towards that, I think is seems quite creditable. So tell me more about Outlier Kids. It sounds very exciting because, of course, I want my kid to be an outlier in the right way. So what is that, and or rather, what are the problems? Maybe we start with that. What are the challenges that you see with children right now, or the kids that you're working with, and then maybe we can get to outliers.
Sure. So the challenges faced among students these days are they have attention deficit, and they have hyperactivity disorder. Apart from that, they also have mental health issues, extreme pessimism, and low self confidence as well.
Wow. Okay. I'm beginning to worry about these children now. Okay. So I think that's true. I mean, just thinking back, also, frankly, it's not even right now. I think even in the past when we may have been kids, I think I identify with some of these, like, particularly not taking risks because everything is so marks oriented, especially, I guess, especially in India. But even for the kind of children who are trying to prepare for, let's say, trying to get into a Harvard or any major institution, you tend to want to go in a straight line and try to get there versus maybe exploring other things that you might be interested in, or actually figuring out your north star. So I think I kind of understand where you're coming from. So if this is the kind of thing that that is afflicting children, uh, so let's talk about, in that case, what are these outliers, or what are you trying to shape people into?
Outlier kids, as Malcolm Gladwell says in his book Outliers, that every individual who does things that go beyond the realm of ordinary are outlier kids. And the key attributes of outlier kids are they are highly focused, they are hardworking, and they are resolute towards their goal. So these are the key attributes of outlier kids.
Okay, focused, hardworking, and kind of goal focused. I think that makes sense. It would make outlier adults as well, if genuinely everybody could be like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I also like that you distill it into 3 points because, I mean, there's so many ways of defining outperformance, but these are, I think, three good ways of saying this: that you're focused, you're hardworking, and you're persistent. I mean, you talked
True.
about outlier. There's also Grit, I think, this book that was written by Angela
Angela
Duckworth.
Duckworth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so which I think is more along the resolute bit. So I think these make sense. So since we are talking about taking kids from maybe not so outlier to trying to make them outlier, how do you actually work with them on this journey, or how do you
We
build them?
can frankly speaking, Amit, every kid is an outlier kid. We just need
Okay,
to train them accordingly. So the rules of high performing or outlier kids are they're highly focused. That's the rule number one.
okay,
And the rule number two is you should not forget the rule one. Because
okay,
as Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Vyavasayatmika buddhihir eke kuru nandana bahushakaya nastasya Buddhayo Vyavasayinam, which means that if you implicitly do one job and that one job alone, and all other jobs are forgotten, all other things are forgotten and of no importance at all, that individual becomes a brilliant entity. So geniuses are not born, they actually made. So
Okay.
if the kids are moving towards one relentless goal, all their mind becomes pointed and integrated. Their concentration increases and they become razor sharp focused. Just like if you bring a piece of paper and place it under sunlight, nothing happens, right? But if you bring a lens and adjust the focus on it, the paper starts burning. The same way, kids' mind should not be distracted with multiple things. They should focus on one single thing and it should be brought to one focal point. And if we see many people who have been very successful, they are highly focused, except the 0.001% people, right?
Right. So, which actually does beg the question, which is how do we make this kind of focus actually happen? Or is this something that parents have to do something with, or is this like there's some secret sauce in your work that is able to make this sort of happen?
Yes, upbringing lays a great impact on how a child is shaped. I hope everyone would have heard the famous story of a baby elephant syndrome, right? Okay, let me illustrate it. Where a baby elephant is tied to a rope or a chain at a very young age and is unable to break free of the constraint. So, when the elephant matures, the elephant is grown strong enough to uproot the trees and surely break the rope. But the elephant has been conditioned to accept the constraint. Even if a weak rope is used, the elephant will not attempt to break free. And the constraint is now in the mind of the elephant opposed to an actual physical constraint. So the elephant is held back not by the rope but by its belief system. And we as parents need to help our kids break free of the mindset to help them get rid of the innate fears which makes them think otherwise. And if the actual limit is in their brains, and we as parents need to show their true potential, which is limitless.
Okay. You also mentioned, many of the things that you talked about, which were challenges for kids right now. I think many of them seem to sound like if you group them all together, it would be what we would nowadays call mental health, I think, or what is, I would
True.
say, commonly known as mental health. So,
Mhm.
so do you see, either the way that we do education is negatively contributing towards that, or do you see this as like something to address?
Yes, mental health of our children must be seen every bit as important as their physical health. Because today's kids are highly anxious, depressed, and they are less confident. And this happens when they are over guided, over restricted, or over controlled. And parents reach out. Usually, what happens is parents reach out to rescue their kids whenever in pain or they are in problems. And with this, the kids move on to either the fight or the flight mode, where the brain stops functioning on their own and they seek help for each and everything. And when they don't receive the needed help, they start getting affected mentally. Kids need to be actually motivated, they need to take charge of a portion of their life to be self confident, self dependent, and self motivated. And I hope all of us would have heard the story of a transformation of a pupa into a butterfly, right? Where the continuous effort from the butterfly to come out of its cocoon would actually lead the fluid stored in the body convert into wings, and thus the body would become lighter and smaller and the wings would be beautiful and large. So if we don't want to undergo any struggle, we won't be able to fly. Struggles actually make us shine.
Yeah, I think that is a really good way of putting it. First of all, I think again, as a parent, I highly identify with the over-guided, over-controlled sort of thing. It's a natural reflex, right? If something is going wrong,
Yes.
you tend to want to then intervene if you can. But I agree with you. I mean, we won't be around forever to intervene in any case, and even if we are around, we aren't going to be there in that moment to actually make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, being able to let the kid do their own thing and figure it out for themselves, I think is obviously sound advice. I do like the analogy over here with the butterfly as well. And well, basically, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think
That's
so.
true, Amit.
It's a bit like that. So
Mhm.
so coming more to maybe the business element over here, I think, like I said right at the start, what you're doing is very important, and I think the way you've sort of explained the thought process is actually quite beautiful, and it sounds like something that most of us should be doing. But
Mhm.
reality is most of us are not doing things like that, and
Mhm.
I'm sure there were and continue to be challenges or choices that you have to make in running this as a business beyond the good that you're doing for society. So what are some of the challenges that you faced? How do you overcome them?
Challenges are a part of an entrepreneurship journey, right? And challenges actually make us better each time. And it is just to turn ourselves into the better version of us. And when we started Cognition, we could see the attrition rate increased as the parents actually wanted instant results, which is not possible when you're working on the root cause.
Hmm. Okay, so this is interesting. So how did you? I'm just curious. How do you actually handle that? Because I mean, we are a very instant gratification society, and this is not an instant gratification problem. So how do you handle it?
We divided the tasks into chunks where there were checkpoints at every level, and parents would see an amount of progress every quarter. And parents were really very happy to see the progress little by little but consistently. And this actually multifolded over the years.
Right. So, do you actually, and I suppose people, when they see, I suppose success breeds success. So, if you are able to show success, then maybe people are more, I think, more keen on the program that you have. So, are you seeing that kind of success? Are children transforming from maybe not, maybe from middle of the road to becoming outliers?
Yes, we have students transforming. We have students wherein when we started our journey, we had students from the ADHD background. We have students wherein they had severe attention deficit and concentration issues. And now, over a course of time, we can see that the students are studying in the top-notch elite institutions, the Ivy League of institutions, Harvard, Stanford, and many others.
Wow, that's pretty good. So I suppose that in itself maybe gets you more customers. So if your business is growing, is this the reason? Like, just word of mouth or people observing success?
Yes, Amit, your work actually speaks better than anyone else, right? So when you give your 100% to one desired goal consistently and continuously, it gradually starts showing results. And we got students mainly from the word of mouth.
Okay, got it. So, okay, and when you say word of mouth, just curious. So, do you enable that somehow? Like, how does the actual word spread? Like, do you ask people to refer other people or sort of incentivize that referral or do something like that?
No, frankly speaking, we've never asked anyone to refer us, but we have got quite a lot of students because, as I said, you like when this kids start growing, the parents are really very happy, and when the parents are happy, yeah, it obviously spreads, right?
Right. Okay. So, I mean, the reason I asked this is because you are an ed tech in a way. I mean, maybe not so much tech, but there's definitely the whole ed part of this. And in today's world, ed tech is very much a topic of discussion and
Mm-hmm.
a topic of concern for that matter, because it was like 2 3 years back. It was, oh wow, this is going to solve all problems because people are going to learn, self learn motivatedly online, and they're going to take over the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
schools are not being able to offer, etc., etc. And the reality today, I mean, definitely in India, and I would say in many other places also, is that maybe they have grown bigger than the market that they could actually service in a in the manner that they probably wanted to. And
Mm-hmm.
so they obviously have grown through many growth hacks, I would say, including incentivized referrals, obviously outbound sales, some a lot of complaints happen to be around pushing sales and then not
Mhm.
being able to kind of get refunds and so on. So you've somehow managed to stay away from this temptation. So I'm curious, do you not did you not kind of get some sort of FOMO about all of these people growing at whatever rates they are growing, and did you not feel inclined to kind of try some of those tactics?
Well, we were not, as I said, we were not working on the monetary benefits. We were not mainly money minded. But yes, we were surely working on to help Cognition grow and help our entity move on to the next level.
Hmm.
But yes, we have been growing. Yes, Cognition has been growing beyond leaps and bounds, and we are extremely happy about it. And we are happy because we have students from multiple countries, which includes India, Singapore, US, UK, and many other countries.
Right.
And we have proper and regular checkpoints at every stage and different strategies for every kids. And our basic motive is we identify the kids' strength and use it to help them excel in their endeavors by counseling and helping them to work on the key areas with checkpoints to test and stress their skills. And this helps Cognition unleash the true potential of every kid.
Right. Okay. And I actually think, this is why I like interviewing bootstrapped entrepreneurs. And actually, that's the reason why we have Shop Talk as a show at all.
Mhm.
Talk to maybe 20, 25 people on that show so far, and I hope to do many more such conversations. And it's because I think every one of these conversations tends to be unique. If I were interviewing VC funded companies, especially over the last year, the conversation would have been all pretty much the same, which is here are the 5 growth hacks we did. This is the incentivization we did. We grew 10x year on year, which is all nice. I mean, of course, no disrespect there, but these conversations are actually more fun because everybody has a different approach to their own business, and not everybody
True.
is trying to grow at a breakneck pace or keep up with the Joneses, I guess. So, so therefore, I think it's nice to hear what you just said, which is, you're growing on the strength of your reputation, and that reputation is built on delivering the best outcome to the students, and that is organic growth. It is fast enough for your liking. It doesn't have to be hyper growth within quotes, and I guess that's good enough. Okay, so I think last question from my side, which is, you've been doing this for a while now, and you've obviously had ups and downs, challenges, etc. So my question is, in hindsight, what might you have done differently, or maybe just what is some advice you'd give to aspiring entrepreneurs, either in the education space or just in general, anyone?
The only thing we could do differently is, if we had a chance, is reduce the amount of time we took to reach here. And my only advice to every entrepreneur is you have to act smart, act fast, you have to trust your gut and be customer focused. And have faith in yourself, which is very important. And the entire world will conspire to make it happen.
Right. I think the faith bit is the hard one because uh, I feel like you tend to second guess yourself quite a bit. Like you do this, doesn't immediately work, or it frankly doesn't work, or something goes wrong, and it's a bit hard to kind of keep that, you know, the North Star. Actually, it's hard to
True.
stay kind of focused towards your business's North Star.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's good advice. It is a little hard to stick to it, but it's good to hear it from someone else as well. And yeah, I mean, Anita, thanks a lot. I mean, this was a good conversation, also a bit of a different conversation, not as heavily business focused, I think, as my chats tend to be. And it's nice to kind of hear your story and what you're trying to do for kids. And I think, like I said at the start, it's pretty important, and it's important that it's done the right way, which is I think what you're trying to do, versus the incentivized, forced down your throat sort of way, which feels nice.
Right.
So thank you very much. One last point is where can people find out more about cognition, or if they wanted to get in touch or figure out how to work with you, how should they get in touch?
People can reach us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and they can also reach us via WhatsApp.
Okay, okay, cool. And I also see your LinkedIn has been shared over here as a comment. So thanks a lot, Hitesh. Um, First-hand experience cognition is all about. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we have some time now. So maybe let's get into questions, if any. So I see one question from Anindya, which is actually, I don't know what the question is. So Anindya, please, if you could share the question. How can people use cognitive skills in their professional careers? Yeah, goes back to the point I was saying earlier, which is I think even if adults were that focused and resolute, I think it would be good for them. So, what are some thoughts you might have on this?
Well, the five primary cognitive skills are reading, learning, remembering, and paying attention, which is very important. So I've already answered to the question, right? You need to be highly focused, focused on one relentless goal.
Right. Actually, you know, there is a lot of conversation, and I also tend to write on LinkedIn about these kinds of topics from time to time. And one of the things a lot of people have a problem with nowadays is multitasking, right? Because
True.
first of all, you have five different channels with which people are trying to reach you, and then you're
Hmm.
also trying to do two or three things at the same time. Like you're listening to a call, but you're making your presentation for tomorrow, and you know that at the back of your mind you've got this chore to do at home and so on. So I think this is it's quite a struggle for people to kind of address. So how do you stay focused in that kind of an environment?
I think we need to adapt the traditional methods to stay focused. One is we need to meditate because meditation actually calms your mind, right? It
Right.
reduces the chattering of your mind, and when you are single-minded, when you're focused, you can think way lot better when compared to with the chattering of your brain, right?
Yeah, that's true. I have read this in various forums. Unfortunately, my mind was chattering too much for me to actually implement it. But yes, I do agree that this is something that I think a lot of people say, and it works for a lot of people. From
Right.
my side, what I've tried doing is time boxing, which works well for me. Like just block 1 hour or 2 hours and just do one thing. The knowledge that I have that time to do that one thing actually helps a lot, because even if there are other distractions, I know that this time was already set up and I will have time for the other thing after this is done. So
Hmm.
that kind of works for me. It's not as I think as deep as meditation, but it's a sort of tactical thing. So that way. Uh, Okay, so I think no further questions here as far as I can see. So, Anita, thank you very much. I think for joining us today. It was a nice conversation. It was a pleasure having you with us. Also, because it's our first Shop Talk Live, I think it's a special moment, at least for me. So, really appreciate you being our guinea pig here today and for doing such a
Thank you,
great
Amit.
job with this conversation.
Thank you, Amit. In the finishing note, I would like to put forward a couple of lines for the budding entrepreneurs.
Sure.
So, to every entrepreneur out there, may you build an entity rare, may you grow leaps and bounds, break through every record ground, may you rise and grow tall. Best wishes to you all. Best wishes to you all.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, as a budding entrepreneur, I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot. Very well written as well.
It's been a
So
pleasure.
yeah, same here, Anita. Nice chatting with you. Take care. And for everyone listening to this live today, or the video later, or the podcast afterwards, please do follow us on Shop Talk, either on the podcast or follow Crazy Talk on LinkedIn. We should be doing this pretty frequently from now on, particularly because I quite had a lot of fun doing it. And also, if you want to find out more about cognition, you can see the comments over here, which Hitesh has been helpfully posting in the comments. So you can get them on WhatsApp, you can get them on Instagram or via Anita's own LinkedIn page, and all the other channels that they mentioned. So I think it's important. If you have a kid, definitely do check out Cognition. And thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so
See you.
much.
Bye.
Gee, bye.